everyone, and welcome back to the Wisdom by Harry YouTube channel. My name's Harry.
And I'm Mary. We're so excited to have you here today for another fascinating episode. Today, we're going on a deep dive into something super practical, how to talk about money in English.
Yeah, it's like we're giving you the secret decoder ring for all those conversations you hear in movies or on the street about finances.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that we're not just learning, dry vocabulary. We're actually getting a glimpse into how native English speakers actually think about money.
Yeah, it's like learning the language of money and the culture behind it.
I love that. And speaking of learning the language, our source material is actually set up like a real conversation, which is so much more engaging than just looking at lists of words, right?
Absolutely. It's like eavesdropping on two friends who are talking about their finances.
Mm-hmm.
And you pick up so much more than just the words themselves. Okay, so let's jump right into the dialogue. Right away, they hit us with some of these advanced words about money, like currency, denomination, and depreciation. I have to admit, those sound a bit intimidating.
They do sound fancy, don't they? But they're really not that complicated once you break them down. Think of currency as simply the kind of money a country uses. Like here in the US, we have dollars, but if you go to Japan, they use yen.
So it's like the name tag for their money. That makes total sense. What about denomination, though? Does that have anything to do with religion?
Not this time. Denomination just means the different values of money within a currency. So think about, again, you have $1 bills, $5 bills, $10 bills, and so on. Those are all different denominations.
Oh, like the different sizes and colors of the money. I get it. Okay. Now, depreciation. That one sounds a little scarier.
Don't worry, it's not as bad as it sounds. Imagine you buy a brand new shiny bike. After a year of riding it around, is it still worth the same amount as when you first got it?
Probably not. It'll have some scratches and maybe even a rusty chain.
Exactly. It's lost some of its value. And that's what depreciation means, things losing value over time. It happens to cars, phones, even houses sometimes.
Wow, so even though I don't like it when my things get old and less valuable, at least now I know the fancy word for it. Depreciation.
You got it. And it's not just stuff that depreciates, currencies can too. If the dollar depreciates, it means it's worth less compared to other currencies, like the euro.
So if I wanted to travel to Europe, a depreciating dollar would mean I'd have to spend more dollars to get the same amount of euros.
Ouch. Catching on quick. See, these advanced words aren't so scary after all.
Okay, I'm feeling much more confident about those words now. But what about actually using them in a conversation? Like if I wanted to buy something, how could I sound a little more sophisticated than just saying, how much is this?
That's a great question. And our source material gives us some really helpful phrases for buying and selling situations. For example, instead of buy, you could use the word acquire. It sounds much fancier, right?
Ooh, definitely. So instead of saying, I want to buy that awesome skateboard, I could say, I'm interested in acquiring that awesome skateboard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you sound like a pro. And imagine you're at a fancy art gallery looking at a painting. Instead of saying, that's way too expensive, you could say, that's exorbitantly priced.
Exorbitantly priced. That sounds like something a millionaire would say. I'm definitely adding that one to my vocabulary.
It definitely adds a touch of drama. And the cool thing is, using this kind of language shows you have a deeper understanding of English.
It's like leveling up my English skills. I'm not just a beginner anymore. But speaking of leveling up, our source material also does something really interesting with words related to, like saving and earning money.
Yes, it contrasts everyday words like saving with more formal businessy terms like accumulating wealth. It's subtle, but it actually reveals a lot about cultural values.
So it's not just about putting a few dollars in a piggy bank, it's about building a financial empire.
You got it. And instead of simply earning money, they talk about generating income. These choices of language reflect a culture that really values financial success and ambition.
It's like they're not just talking about money, they're talking about a whole mindset.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how something as simple as choosing different words can give you such a deep insight into a culture's values.
I'm starting to see that learning to talk about money in English isn't just about the words themselves. It's like learning a whole new way of thinking.
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to another really fun part of our source material, the idioms.
Ooh, yes. Those are always my favorite. They're like these little puzzles that unlock a deeper understanding of the language and the culture behind it.
You hit the nail on the head. They're like little windows into the culture's history and humor. Shall we take a peek?
Let's do it. I'm ready for some fun. and maybe even a few laughs along the way.
All right, let's start with a classic, a penny for your thoughts. It's such a polite and engaging way to ask someone what's on their mind.
It definitely sounds more interesting than just saying, "What are you thinking about?" Where does it come from?
The exact origin is a bit of a mystery, but one theory suggests it goes back to a time when even a penny had some value. So you were basically offering a small token in exchange for someone's thoughts.
Ah, so it was like a tiny payment for their mental effort. I love that. Okay, what about rolling in dough? That one seems pretty self-explanatory. Someone's rich.
Precisely. It conjures up this image of someone swimming in a pool of money, like Scrooge McDuck. And it's not just about being wealthy, it implies abundance and even a bit of extravagance.
It definitely sounds more fun than just saying he's very wealthy. Any idea where that expression came from?
It's thought to have originated in the early 20th century in the United States. Dough was slang for money, and the image of rolling in it just perfectly captures the idea of having more money than you know what to do with.
Okay, I'm going to try to use that one in conversation this week. I wish I was rolling in dough so I could buy that. Ooh, what about cutting corners? That one sounds a little less glamorous.
It's definitely not about luxury. Cutting corners means trying to save money or time by doing things in a cheaper or easier way, sometimes sacrificing quality in the process.
So it's like taking a shortcut that might not be the best in the long run.
Exactly. For example, a company might cut corners by using cheaper materials, which could lead to problems later on.
Or someone might cut corners by trying to fix something themselves instead of hiring a professional and then end up making things worse.
Precisely. It's all about finding that balance between saving money and maintaining quality.
This has been such a fun and insightful deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much more than just vocabulary words.
That's the beauty of language learning. It's not just about memorizing words and grammar rules. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of the culture and how people think.
I'm definitely starting to see that. And I'm feeling a lot more confident about talking about money in English.
That's fantastic to hear. Remember, fluency comes with practice, so don't be afraid to use these new words and expressions.
I won't. And I'll be sure to listen for those cultural nuances and hidden meanings.
Excellent. And before we wrap up, I'd love to leave you with a thought-provoking question.
Ooh, I love those. Lay it on me.
Think about how you talk about money in your native language. Are there any expressions or idioms that are unique to your culture? Do you think the way you talk about money reflects your culture's values and attitudes towards wealth?
That's a really interesting question. I'm going to have to give that some serious thought.
It's something to ponder. And it might even give you some new insights into your own culture and how it shapes your perspective on the world.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our financial journey for today.
It's been a pleasure exploring the world of money talk with you.
As always, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insights.
You're very welcome. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've learned something new and feel inspired to keep exploring the fascinating world of language and culture.
And until next time, happy learning. Okay, so we've tackled some of those like tricky money words, and we've even learned how to sound super sophisticated when we're buying or selling something.
Yeah, we've even uncovered how different words can reveal a lot about a culture's attitude toward money.
It's amazing how much we can learn just from paying attention to the words people use.
It's true. Language is like a secret code that unlocks a deeper understanding of the world around us.
And speaking of secret codes, let's dive into those fun money expressions, the idioms we were talking about earlier.
Yes. Idioms are like little treasures hidden within a language. They're often colorful, memorable, and packed with cultural meaning.
They're like those delicious little candies with a surprise filling inside. You never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. And sometimes, understanding the history behind an idiom can make it even more delicious, so to speak.
Okay, I'm ready for a taste. Which idiom are we unwrapping first?
How about to break the bank? This one's pretty common, and it's used when something is so expensive it would completely wipe out your savings.
Oh, I've definitely heard that one before. Like, that fancy new phone is amazing, but it's gonna break the bank.
Exactly. It's a vivid way to express just how expensive something is, and it paints this picture of literally smashing your piggy bank to get the money.
It makes me think of those old cartoons where a character runs headfirst into a wall and leaves a perfect outline of their body. Except it's their wallet that's taking the hit.
That's a great analogy, and while the exact origin of break the bank is unclear, it's thought to be related to the gambling world.
Well, that makes sense. Like when someone bets everything they have and loses, they've broken the bank.
Precisely. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes it's wise to be cautious with our spending and not risk everything on a single gamble.
Okay, that's a lesson I can definitely apply into my life. What other money idioms are hiding in our treasure chest?
Let's pull out to be in the red. This one's all about being in debt.
Like when you spend more money than you have, and your bank account balance shows a negative number, ouch.
You got it. The red refers to the traditional way of marking debts in accounting ledgers in red ink.
So it's like a visual warning sign, hey,
Right.
you're in dangerous territory.
Exactly. And the opposite of being in the red is to be in the black, which means you have a positive balance and are financially stable.
So it's like a traffic light system for your finances. Red means stop spending, black means you're good to go.
That's a great way to remember it. Now let's grab another idiom from rags to riches. This one's all about achieving great wealth and success after starting from a position of poverty.
Oh, this one's like a classic fairy tale story. The poor orphan who becomes a prince or princess.
Exactly. It captures this idea of overcoming incredible obstacles and achieving extraordinary success.
It makes me think of those inspiring stories of entrepreneurs who started with nothing and built massive companies through hard work and determination.
It's a reminder that while money isn't everything, it can certainly be a powerful symbol of achievement and overcoming adversity.
And it shows that no matter where you start in life, with enough effort and a bit of luck, anything is possible.
Exactly. Now let's uncover to make ends meet. This one's a little less glamorous, but very relatable for many people.
It's definitely something I've experienced firsthand. It means struggling to pay your bills and cover your basic expenses, right?
Precisely. It paints this image of trying to stretch your income as far as possible, like trying to tie the two ends of a rope together when they're just barely long enough.
Yeah, it can be a real challenge, especially when unexpected expenses pop up or the cost of living keeps rising.
It's a reminder that financial security isn't always easy to achieve, and many people face real struggles to make ends meet.
This whole conversation about money idioms is making me realize how deeply language and culture are intertwined.
It's true. Language isn't just a tool for communication. It's a reflection of our values, beliefs, and experiences.
And learning these idioms isn't just about expanding my vocabulary. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of how English speakers view the world.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's one of the most rewarding aspects of language learning. It opens up new perspectives and broadens our understanding of humanity.
I completely agree. And it makes me even more excited to keep exploring the fascinating world of language and culture.
That's the spirit. And speaking of exploration, how about we shift gears and delve into something a bit more specific?
Ooh, I love surprises. Where are we heading next?
So we've journeyed through, the world of money talk in English. You know, from fancy words to everyday phrases and even those, colorful idioms.
Yeah, and we've uncovered how language not only, reflects but also shapes our understanding of money and its role in our lives.
It's like we've been peeling back the layers of an onion, revealing the hidden meanings and cultural nuances behind the words we use. Yeah, and just like an onion, sometimes this exploration can bring a few tears to our eyes, especially when we encounter those idioms about debt and, financial struggles.
That's true. But even those tough topics can teach us valuable lessons about empathy and understanding the challenges that others face.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that language can be a powerful tool for connecting with people from all walks of life, even if their financial experiences are different from our own.
Speaking of connecting with people, I think one of the coolest things about learning a new language is that it makes you more aware of your own native language.
You're so right. It's like looking at a familiar painting with fresh eyes. Suddenly you notice details and brushstrokes you never saw before.
And that's the beauty of deep diving, isn't it? It's not just about, accumulating knowledge. It's about shifting your perspective and opening up new ways of thinking.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to take a moment and reflect on how you talk about money in your native language. What expressions do you use? What do they reveal about your culture's values?
You might be surprised by what you discover. And who knows, maybe you'll even come up with some fun new expressions to share with us.
That's a great idea. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a comment on our website or social media channels.
We always love connecting with our listeners and learning from your insights.
Absolutely.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those deep dives going.
Happy dive in, everyone.